You're coming across as somebody who is strong inwardly, loves big, kind, generous, but people can't quite hold you. People quite can't grasp you, and people want to grasp you. It's got this feeling of being like ethereal. Yeah, ethereal, full stop. It's like a Neptune and Venus contact here. Somebody who may be very good looking. It's like somebody who's just, there's a feeling here that you are incredibly good looking. There's a feeling here that people want more of you and they can't get it. If I feel that people project onto you, I feel that people sometimes, you may have people that have huge crushes on you, or people that you may have even had trouble with stalkers. It's just a strange feeling here, or people that become obsessed with you and you have no idea where it's come from. And I know people like this. I have got a friend like this, and she works in a shop, very gentle, very kind, and people go into a shop and that she allows that space for people to put their feelings on top of her. So she gets people coming into the shop and people that have huge crushes on over the years, and it's difficult for her. That is a feeling I'm getting from you here. There's something roaring inside you. This has a feeling of somebody who could be quite well known, somebody who's famous in some way, who is living a life on the surface that doesn't have to be famous, but it's that feeling of somebody that lives a life on the surface that looks beautiful, but inside there's that you can't be yourself at times. Let me just keep going. You've got what I would say is a very strong love nature. You may have got yourself into sticky situations in that part of your life. I don't know how to explain this. There's a feeling here of kind people where they've got themselves into situations that they've given too much, too sweet, and been taken advantage of. Just a thought here, because here is a feeling of, in some way, that you may have almost cut yourself out of long-term relationships through being possibly hurt because you're too sweet. You're kind, you're giving, you're loving, and let's just say the world is tough, and you've got that disposition. There will be times in life where it burns. You know, the leeches, I can't think of the word. What those fishes that bite people? You know, fish that just bite people and hold on to them. You know, people that stick on to people. That's the image I've got in my mind. They're not piranhas, yeah. People that just latch on to you. Yeah. I don't think people appreciate that you show them an alternative to grasping and grabbing and holding, because I think you've been bruised. There's still a lot of people who would rather take than give. You've got a good heart and you're kind. Other people want to hold on to you, is what I've got so far. It feels like there's a feeling here that life comes at you and you don't know, and people watching even wouldn't know why. But there's a feeling here that people underappreciate your softness, and in doing that they give you your kindness, they're a misjustice to themselves. Because how on earth can you, in a world, how can we, without examples like this, know where to go? Oh my gosh, you are so sweet. You're kind, you're giving, you're loving. You allow the world to feel soft. You think ahead and you think of others. You must have, if there is such a thing as lifetimes before, you have loved and loved and loved and loved. And you are just beginning to allow others to see what they should be doing. You could be, to me this has got a very, it's almost like an artistic film, and then making something a little bit different and a little bit allowing beauty to come into other people's lives. And people underappreciate the time that they spend with you is precious because it makes an impression on them. And it makes life feel good. And in dark times, I'm not saying we're in dark times, it's a bit difficult at times, but people like you are precious and much needed. I don't think you do it in a shouty way. It's not a preachy way. It's a case of sweet, kind, kiss, hug, life's good, remember me, and they do. I would trust you with my £8.50 in my bank. That type of feeling. It's like you wouldn't hurt anybody. There are a couple of cards here I'll need to put more on, but let's just keep going with this at the moment. There's a feeling here that you have experienced unfairness, a big time in your life, and has that ability to change you into something that ricochets onto the complete opposite end of who you are. Is that you question yourself and how much you've given to people and how kind you've been. Maybe it's been taken advantage of here. And what you probably think by trying to protect yourself is to be the complete opposite, to be tough and to be hard and to be grisly and that type of feeling. But this has got a feeling in this that, to be honest, when you get people that come across like you, what I'm trying to say is you don't need to go to the other two extremes here, but you need to be incredibly stubborn to be able to succeed with this softness, because people underappreciate the fact that just by you being in their lives gives them an alternative to fighting and struggling and attacking and demeaning and grasping. Because you're just you, and you've come from experiences in past lifetimes, if you believe in that, where you have learnt to love big. But you come into a world now and you think that you're fighting. Let's just imagine that you know somebody like this. And I always think this. Do you remember Jesus Christ Superstar when he's standing at the end with the Pontius Pilate? I don't remember. And he's been basically whipped, to tell me that you're the king. And I know what's going on behind that story there, but this is what it feels like. Tell me why you think you're the king, and it's threatening to them. People find you threatening, I think, because of your inability to be like them. But they won't know an alternative unless they spend time with you anyway. So you're doing them a great justice by just being yourself. And there's a feeling here that, you've got this card over here and this one at the Page of Pentacles here of how broad-minded are you? And there's just a feeling here of it feels like you're a bud and you're just beginning to blossom with regards to how you identify yourself. All the way that you've acted up until now has been very generous spirit, but you're just beginning to learn how your strong boundaries to say, well, stop there, I've had enough now. It's like, I've had enough. There's a feeling when you've had to protect yourself a little bit too much from people that don't know how to act. And it's just beginning, and in that, it to me feels like the balance through difficult situations will be needing to protect yourself. It's like going into a different planet, but not being able to breathe the air. So you get out your spaceship or whatever you're in, and you're perfect as you are. Everything inside yourself is ready to be able to, you're there to be able to survive on this planet, but you can't quite catch your breath all the time. And you have to adjust slowly. And then that's when you blossom. So I don't think people appreciate that you may have found it difficult to begin with, and that you're gaining your strength. And in that strength, you're going to really blossom like no other flower. And that is not through being cruel or through being rough or through being harsh, which you may have questioned at times in your life, especially if you've got that Venus Pisces feel of being softer. It will be through being stubborn and knowing who you are that you make the best progress. Knowing what's right and not letting other people with colder, cooler personalities, because you're getting there and you're wise. So you own the traits that they should have, that they are too blind to see. And in the process of you becoming more of yourself, it's by identifying or understanding where you're coming from that they know who they should be. So they underappreciate that you may be a reflection or a lesson to them. But you've got to look after yourself big time, because you're doing a fantastic job of unfolding. And in that unfolding, people get a taste of where they should be. You've chose the right path, and people may not understand it, but you've got to keep going.